First, 20-0, Michigan on top. Fourth quarter about to get underway. Iowa with the football in their own territory. John, while we have this opportunity, I'd like to point out when Michigan goes on the road, J.J. McCarthy takes earnings from his NIL money and donates them to a local children's hospital in whatever town Michigan is visiting. All Big Ten opponents, and here at the Big Ten championship game, J.J.'s personal donation goes to Peyton Manning's Children's Hospital here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that, and we've talked about Blake Corum before. JJ is following suit, and that's when you have guys that are leaders on the team. When they step up and do things like that, it trickles down to everybody else. And when guys come along, that's what's expected, is that not only are you taking care of your team, you're going out and they're performing, but you're taking care of your community and the communities that you play in.
He's such a leader. Jim Harbaugh said of JJ, he reminds him of Jim McMahon from when Harbaugh was with the Bears. He said he's got an aura and a presence that reminds him of Jim McMahon. I don't think he's quite as outrageous as Jim McMahon was, but just his presence.
Let's put a headband on him. See how he looks.
Well, Jim McMahon at one point in his career did put a headband on with the name of a commissioner.
Yes. Maybe after the game here, he'll pull out the Petiti.
I doubt it.
You guys are encouraging JJ to get a headband.
No. We're not encouraging anything.
And a stash.
20-0, Michigan on top. Also, while we have this opportunity, I want to thank our crew. Bob Rossick on stats. Tony Butler, our engineer. 37 years.
A lot of football.
Who's got a better engineer than us?
No one. Nobody.
3rd and 8 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They go 5 wide. Deacon Hill in an empty backfield takes the snap. Here comes the blitz. Fires, and it's bobbled and broken up. Makari Page out there. Knocked the ball out of the hands of Addison Ostrenga. It's 4th down. Another Hawkeye 3 and out.
Nice job by Braden McGregor coming off the edge, getting in Deacon Hill's face, not giving him a clean throw out to his tight end. And I tell you what, Makari Page is in the perfect position to make a play.
Samaj Morgan standing at his own 25-yard line to field this punt from Taylor. Taylor's got it, puts his right foot into it. And this is a wobbler that's going to be short and roll out of bounds at the 35-yard line. That's where Michigan will take over following a punt off the side of Torrey Taylor's foot. Wolverines lead it 20-0 from here in Indy. You're listening to Michigan football from Learfield. Our statistician Bob Rossick just handed me a card. Iowa's had the football 9 times today. Their 9 possessions have resulted in 7 punts and 2 lost fumbles.
That's why they've got an All-American punter.
Michigan's 2 touchdown drives, all of 13 yards. Thanks to the special teams and the defense. And the Wolverines lead at 20-0 here, early 4th quarter in Indianapolis. And now is when you'd like to see the offensive line start to wear down that Iowa defensive front. Earlier this week, Carson Barnard said it's so much fun at the end of the game to say blank you to a defense and just go run the rock down their throat.
There's no better feeling.
But JJ's going to pass here on 1st down, bailing out to the right, under pressure. He's going to fire, and he's got his man, Cornelius Johnson, having a big game out at the 40, and he is dropped right there for a gain of 5 yards on 1st down.
Well, I know it's not going to make a big difference right now, or it's not going to feel like it is, but when you catch the ball that close to the sidelines and you turn back inside, you continue to let that clock beat down. And we know that this Iowa offense is challenged. They haven't scored yet today. You just went through their possessions. Clock seconds matter.
2nd down and 5 for the Michigan offense. JJ in a shotgun, ball on the right hash. Claps his hands it off to Donovan Edwards. Check that, Blake Corum running left is drilled as he gets out to the 43-yard line, hangs on to the football. Iowa drops him right there, gain of 3 on 2nd and 5.
And now you're looking at a 3rd and 2, very manageable situation. And you mentioned it. This is an opportunity for this offensive line to start exerting their dominance and just moving this Iowa D-line off the ball being sound, keeping your shoulders square, and that's going to be the key here. You got to be able to get up to those linebackers. When you have tackling machines like a Jay Higgins, you got to get a hat on a hat.
Higgins and Jackson outstanding. Sebastian Castro as well. They're running Blake Corum to the left and into the scrum, and I'm not sure that he got it, John. And Iowa's now saying it's their football, saying that the ball came out.
He tried to stretch it out to try and pick up the first down.
They don't need to take too many chances here.
Yeah, he's definitely short, like a full yard short.
As long as he didn't fumble it. Iowa's got a saying, and I would say it applies right now to Michigan. Punting is winning. Don't turn it over. And they're going to say it's Michigan football, and we're going to get to see the punter.
Yeah,
which isn't ideal on 3rd and 2, but it's better than a fumble.
It is. You want to end every drive with a kick. Obviously, the extra point would be the best way.
Weegan standing back on his own 10-yard line, and this one going to get reviewed? I think it is.
The ruling on the field was a runner's forward progress was stopped. That play is under further review.
Well, this one becomes difficult because they've got to determine when the whistle was blown and when his forward progress stopped. And I don't think it's in regards to picking up the first down. It's got to be in regards to when did that ball come free.
Iowa players are signaling that they think it's their football. I have yet to see a replay.
Yeah.
I don't think that they have either. They just want something good to happen. But there's no worse statement than punting is winning.
You don't like that one, huh?
Very unattractive for any.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It's 4th down.
Very unattractive for any offensive player.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think any offensive player would like it. Iowa's best player might be their player. I mean, let's be fair. Iowa's best players might all be hurt right now. Cade McNamara, Eric All, Luke Lachey, and Cooper DeJean might be their 4 best players, and they all have suffered serious injuries this year.
And this offense, we've known this offense, has been based on getting their tight ends the ball. You lose your number 1 tight end in Luke Lachey early. You lose Eric All about 7 games in, and you lose your quarterback.
Tommy Doman gets the punt off, and this is a beauty. Backing up his Weegan to the 4. He's going to return it, running to the near side, gets the edge, 20, 25, flag is down, takes a hit as he goes out of bounds, but I think this one's coming back. And boy, just as Iowa tries to make a play on special teams, the flag, I saw Trente Jones got hit pretty hard. That was a 52-yard bomb from Tommy Doman and a 21-yard return, but we await the call.
And here's the thing, is where that flag is was nowhere.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 95. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, 1st down and 10, timeout on the field.
It's nowhere near where the returner was. It was an absolutely pointless block.
Iowa needed to be buttoned up. They had to win the special teams battle, and they are not winning it so far. Michigan leads at 20-0, 12-13 to go in the ball game. You're listening to Michigan Football from Learfield. Doug Karsh, John Jansen, Jason Avant back at Lucas Oil Stadium, the Big Ten Championship game. Michigan leading 20-0. 12-13 to go in the ball game. Iowa has it, 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line following the penalty mark. John, you were saying during the break this is a point in a game where a defense can have some fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you think about the guys on the edge, whether it's Braden McGregor, Josiah Stewart, Jalen Harold, Derek Moore, they're going to pin their ears back. And in the middle, look for games. Chris Jenkins, Mason Graham, little TT stunts, something to confuse and get some free runners at the quarterback, because Iowa's going to have to take some chances. There's 12 minutes left to go in this game, 12-13 to be exact. They're not an offense that's built to take chances. Deacon Hill's not a quarterback that's built to take chances, but they're going to have to if they want to try and get back in this game, and Michigan's defense can have some fun.
Michigan going defensively all night long without Will Johnson, sitting this one out with an injury. DJ Waller's in there, man coverage wide right. Deacon Hill from a shotgun back to pass is going to fire, and out of the reach of Ragaini at the 20. Ragaini, incomplete on first down for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, and you can see Deacon Hill feels rushed. He feels rushed to make a decision, to get the ball out. As soon as a receiver comes open, he's trying to throw the ball to where he thinks he's going to go instead of where he knows he's going to be. And that's not a good position you want to put your quarterback in, but that's where they are right now.
Wolverines have had 5 defensive linemen in there for much of the second half. Now they got 5 defensive backs in there as Iowa needs to throw to try and get back into this one. Hill back to pass, looking near side. Now fires over the middle, and he's got his man. That's his tight end, Ostringer. And he is dropped at the 22-yard line, a gain of 7 on 2nd and 10.
Rod Moore's right in his hip pocket, coming across the formation, and just got there a split second late. Tried to come in front and didn't get his hand out in time to be able to defend that ball, but did a nice job of keeping his back arm available to make that tackle.
3rd down and 3 for the Hawkeyes. They got to get the ball across their own 25-yard line. Snapping it just inside the 22. Rashawn Williams, a lone running back. Back to pass is Hill. Looking over the middle, fires. Ostrenga's got it, and just enough for a first down. Quentin Johnson dropped him at the 26-yard line. Moved the chains for Iowa, just their 5th first down of the night.
Yeah, and this is the twist that came inside. They brought Mike Barrett. He almost came unblocked at Deacon Hill. And Rayshaw Mbani came around and put a hit on him.
1st and 10 Hawkeyes from the 26-yard line. Deacon Hill in a shotgun. Has the snap back to pass. Here comes the rush, and it's batted out of his hand. The ball's on the ground, and it's picked up by Kenneth Grant. And the Wolverines have forced another turnover. The 3rd fumble of the game, recovered by Michigan. The only question is, will this be ruled incomplete? I think the hand was coming forward empty.
I think it was too. Braden McGregor did a nice job of beating the left tackle around the edge, a little slap and swim move around the edge, and then swiped at the quarterback's arm. We'll get a chance to see it again here on the replay. Braden McGregor does a nice job of getting the edge, and I don't think there's any question that ball was coming. His hand was coming free without the ball.
And the Wolverines will take over inside the Iowa red zone for the 3rd time in this ball game, leading it 20-0, and it feels like Michigan poised to deliver a knockout punch. JJ in a shotgun with Blake Corum off his left hip. They got Tripp split wide right. From the 15-yard line of the Hawkeyes, JJ back to pass, looking, and here comes the Hawkeye rush, and JJ's going to be taken down. Whistle blows, ball comes out. That was a bit excessive on the sack of JJ McCarthy. The fans didn't like it. A little bit of a body slam. JJ pops up, he's okay, but a loss of 7 there on first down.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find a way to protect your quarterback. He had a lot of time. He's got there's a clock in your head that has to go off, and you got to get rid of that ball, especially you're looking into the end zone. You can throw it out of the back of the end zone. He's got plenty of arm to do it from there.
2nd down and 17 for Michigan. JJ in a shotgun, 10:15 to go. 4th quarter, clock running. Wolverines up 20-0. 2 receivers split to either side. Blake Corum in the backfield. And Jim Harbaugh is going to use a timeout. Play clock was running down.
First charge, team timeout, Michigan. 30-second timeout.
Doug, you made the comparison in our open tonight about this team and how much they resemble that 97 team. That 97 team, as much as I would like to pump up our offense, it was led by defense. They stood up time and time again to be able to make plays. And whether it's been Mikey Sanders still with the 2 forced fumbles, we've seen different guys get after the quarterback. Jalen Harrell's done a nice job of batting the ball down. Braden McGregor with the sack fumble on that one. This defense has shown, when you're playing against a good defense like Iowa, they showed up and they're playing even better.
Wolverines with the football from their own, or check that from the Iowa 23-yard line. They got to get it across the 5 for a first down. They'll go inside, hand off to Blake Corum, running right, hesitates, hops over a defender inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line. Gain of about 5 yards for Blake, who has tied Anthony Thomas's rushing touchdown record tonight and has gone over 1,000 yards for the season. Give him 5 more yards right there. It'll be 3rd and 13.
Yeah, and it's nice to see him attack the edge, but right now it feels like they can't protect JJ, so they're reverting to what they did in large part in Happy Valley and just running the ball.
3rd and 13 for the Wolverines. Blake Corum in the backfield off the left hip of J.J. McCarthy. 3 receivers split wide left. J.J. claps his hands, back to pass. J.J. looking, fires over the middle. Colston Loveland can't hang on. Oh boy, that was A.J. Barner, my bad.
Either one of those guys, they both had drop balls today, and it's unfortunate. We saw one at the end of the first half where it hit Colston Loveland right between the 1 and the 8, and this one was a very catchable ball. I know there was some contact as soon as A.J. Barner attempted to catch the ball, but it is one that could have been caught.
James Turner on for a 36-yard field goal from the right hash to extend Michigan's lead. Wagner's snap is good. Tommy Doman puts it down. The kick is up, and that kick is also good. James Turner, 3rd field goal of the night, and Michigan leads this one 23-0 with 9:14 to go. That field goal will be of some significance to some people.
Yes, it will. The line, obviously.
Iowa will get the football back when we continue from the Big Ten Championship game, and the Wolverines on top 23-0. You're listening to Michigan football from Learfield. This game officially goes in the books as a sellout, 67,842 watching this one. Michigan leads at 23-0 with 9:14 to go. We asked the question before the game, what did you think of the Iowa defense? Do we find out more about them tonight because of the Big Ten, the quality of the Big Ten West offenses? John, Jason, what do you make of the Iowa defense now?
It's pretty stout. I had my questions. I had my doubts. But it is a stout defense.
Weegan will bring this one out across the 15 and out to the 25-yard line where he is tackled by Christian Boivin. Jason, what do you make of the Iowa defense?
The one thing you know about Iowa and the Kurt Ferentz coach team is that they like contact. And I think that's what you're seeing about their defense is that they like contact, and I believe that they're being more physical than our offense. And it's something that we're not used to seeing, but these guys like putting tattoos on people. They still do Oklahoma drill at Iowa, it looks like.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too, is they're a very disciplined defense. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't beat themselves. And Doug, they have something that you used to, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. They got contact courage.
Contact courage. You hated that term. Back to pass is Hill, fires over the middle. He's got his man at the 33-yard line. He backs up, and Junior Colson brings him down right away. It's Caleb Brown, a gain of 6 yards.
So that's a tough tackle in the middle of the field right there when you've got a receiver that's got the ball and is able to make a move. That's a great job by Junior Colson to be able to wrangle him.
8:49 to go in the ball game. Michigan up 23-0. Back to pass is Hill. Here comes the rush. Gets rid of it. Oh, boy, he's got his man Ostrenga. Gets away from Keon Sabb out close to the 50. Sabb catches up to him and drops him right there. The initial broken tackle, a lot of green grass in front of him. 19 yards for Ostrenga.
Yeah, Keon Sabb just overplayed it to the outside and then slipped.
Iowa's moved the ball to the 50-yard line. 1st and 10, 8:21 to go. Back to pass is Hill. Looking, fires, and incomplete. Tried to find Ostrenga again in the left flat. Hill was hit as he throws, and that was Jalen Harrell in there.
Jalen Harrell, Mason Graham, both getting the wins up front. And Deacon Hill's not able to set his feet and throws it off balance.
Stops the clock with 8:15 to go. Two receivers split to the right for Hill, one to the left. Shotgun formation. Back to pass, Deacon Hill. Looking to his left. Now back to the middle. Fires over the middle. Deep ball and incomplete. Had his man on a crossing route, Dante Vines, who couldn't hang on. That was down at the Michigan 35-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Deacon Hill did a nice job of showing some presence in the pocket, a little pressure coming up the middle. All he does is a little slide to the left, and he's got good arm strength. He's able to whip that ball. He's not square. Doesn't able to get his feet set, but he threw that ball 20 yards on a rope.
3rd down and 10 for the Hawkeyes. Saw Rod Moore limp off. Make sure he's okay. Back to pass is Hill. Here comes a blitzer just as he gets rid of it, and it's complete at the Michigan 44-yard line to Ragaini, but Josh Wallace is right there to drop him. They'll spot it at the 45, a gain of 5 on 3rd and 10, and Iowa will leave the offense on the field, obviously down 23-0.
Yeah, not much option. They need to go for it. They need to convert if they got any hope at all of getting back in this game.
Ball's at the 45. They got to get it across the 40 on 4th and 5. 3 receivers will split out to the left, 2 to the right. Here come the Michigan fans. On 4th and 5, we get a whistle and a timeout taken by Jim Harbaugh.
Second charge, team timeout, Michigan.
7:27 to go in the ballgame. Michigan on top, 23-0. We'll have the 4th down play after this timeout. You're listening to Michigan football from Learfield. Doug Harsh, John Jansen, Jason Avant back at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. 23-0, Michigan on top. Iowa looking at a 4th down and 5 out of the timeout. Rod Moore is back on the field. And at one point we saw a Brandon Hillman sighting. The freshman safety was out there.
Yep. And they want to make sure they get lined up on this 4th down correctly. They were having a hard time getting lined up on the trips that was to the Michigan sideline.
Wolverine defense pitching a shutout here. They forced punts, 1 turnover on downs, and 3 fumbles.
You mentioned that field goal mattering to some with the 22.5 was the line. Obviously, the over-under for this Iowa offense in the first half was a half a point. They hit the under. And so far here in the second half, it was a half a point as well, and they're still on the under.
Crazy thing, in Vegas, it was more likely that the Michigan defense was going to score than an Iowa offensive player.
Yeah.
4th down and 5 for the Hawkeyes. Deacon Hill in a shotgun. 2 receivers split to the left. 2 tight ends to the right. Deacon Hill back to pass. Looking left. Fires, and Caleb Brown can't hang on. Incomplete. And the Michigan defense gets the turnover on downs for the 2nd time tonight. With 7:24 to go in the ballgame, Michigan takes over.
Is that Jaden McBurrows
Sure
on the
was.
pass defense, breaking that one up? Nice to see him out there getting some time here in the Big Ten championship game.
Did he get a hand in there?
Oh, yeah, he batted it down. The ball was behind the receiver, but he was the one that was able to bat it away.
Awesome. Boy, he's really come on for them lately.
Yeah, we've seen him make some big tackles.
Shotgun for J.J. McCarthy. Blake Corum in the backfield off his right hip. 2 receivers split wide right. J.J. claps his hands. J.J.'s going to roll to the right and fire. He's got Cornelius Johnson inside Iowa territory, and he's wrestled out of bounds at the Iowa 46-yard line by Deshaun Lee. A gain of 9 on 1st down.
Well, it's never too late. They were able to get J.J. outside the pocket a little bit. Would have nice to have been seeing that a little bit earlier in the game plan.
How many catches is that for Cornelius? He's having a huge night.
I believe that was 8.
Wow.
that's 9 on 9 targets.
They're efficient. CJ is split wide left here. Out there is Colston Loveland as well on 2nd and 1. JJ takes the snap, handoff Blake Corum. 1st down, Blake Corum down to the 41-yard line of the Iowa Hawkeyes. A gain of 5, move the chains for the Wolverines. Good blocking up front. Blake picking and choosing his hole and gets 5 yards out of it.
Yeah, it's nice when you're working that way ahead of the sticks at 2nd and 1. As Michigan's going to huddle up to try and take maximum time off the clock. They probably won't break it, shouldn't break it until about 13 on the play clock.
Am I seeing Gio El-Hadi in there? Yeah, I'm seeing Jeff Percy as well. They got some backup offensive linemen in there. Blake Corum in the backfield, shotgun for JJ, 1st and 10 from the Iowa 41. They go toss sweep to Blake, puts the brakes on, escapes 1 tackler, dives back to the line of scrimmage where Iowa's swarming defense brings him down. And we get a whistle and a timeout for an injured player.
And that's kind of the story of this Iowa defense. That run for Blake probably pops for 6 or 7 yards at least against almost every other defense in the Big Ten, but they are so technically sound on open field tackles, pursuit to the football, they've made it very hard on Blake to be able to gain some of those yards on the cutbacks or some of the spins that we've become familiar with him doing.
You know who said this week he loves the Iowa defense is Jesse Minter. And he says he's watching other teams' offenses, scouting them, and he sees a lot of the Iowa defense. Said he just loves what they do. Actually, he said they studied something that Iowa does that Michigan has incorporated. He studied Iowa's interception returns. And he says they were so good at it. Of course, Michigan has 4 interception returns for score this year. Shotgun for J.J. McCarthy. Inside handoff, Blake Corum running left. He's got some room. Makes one man miss, gets undercut as he gets down to the 36-yard line. A 5-yard gain on 2nd and 10. Blake Corum dancing, but good tackle there by Deshaun Lee, the corner coming up.
Yeah, nice job by Max Bredesen coming across the formation. We've seen that all season long, but then Jeff Percy pulls from that right guard spot and does a nice job of keeping his shoulders square and attacking the line of scrimmage when he gets to the other side. Basically wiping things clean.
Clock running down on the Iowa Hawkeyes, 4:38 to go. Fourth quarter, Michigan up 23-0. Empty backfield. Now they're going to motion Blake Corum back into the backfield on 3rd and 5, and they'll go inside handoff to Blake, running left. Cuts upfield, spins out of one tackle, but is swarmed under about 1.5 yards shy of the first down as Blake Corum. And it'll be 4th down for Michigan.
Yeah, you're in 4-down territory here. They're not going to kick the field goal, I wouldn't think, from here.
Well, technically it's a 3-score game, but are we worried about Iowa scoring 3 touchdowns and converting 2 or 3 two-point conversions?
No, they'll probably take this all the way down to 0 on the play clock, call a timeout, and then make their decision on where they want to go for it and try and extend this drive, or I can't imagine they would punt it. So this would be, a 50-yard kick? We saw...
Yeah, you could make that.
We saw him do it last week.
Michigan takes a timeout with 3:43 to go in the ball game and a 23-point lead. Well, John, assuming this holds, I think it's a pretty safe assumption. Is Michigan the number 1 seed in the college football playoff?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. They were the number 2 seed coming in, a win, and it's not been a work of art offensively, but defensively it has been. Special teams-wise, it has been. So if they're 1, that puts Washington at 2. And now with what's going down south between Louisville and Florida State,
which is
Florida State is leading 10-6. They have the ball right now with 3:21 left to go in the 4th.
We're hearing 13-6 now.
Oh.
Let's preview the upcoming schedule brought to you by Meyer. So
it really depends, and it depends on what the playoff committee wants to do. Are they going to put Michigan out? I think the preference would be Michigan would go out to the Rose Bowl. I know that would be my preference, probably yours as well.
They're bringing on Turner to try a 51-yard field goal here. Let's try and add to this Michigan lead. Snap is good, hold is good. The kick is up from James Turner, and it is good from 51 yards. James Turner's 4th of the ball game, and Michigan leads it 26-0. Well, John, the question then will be, who will the opponent be? Will it be Alabama? Will it be Georgia? Will it be Texas? Will it be Florida State?
That is the million-dollar question right now. And, if things hold down south, which now they are, it is confirmed, it's 13-6. They're up by a touchdown. You've got Texas, who's the Big 12 champ, who just dismantled Oklahoma State earlier and beat Alabama in week 2. Alabama's the SEC champ. I think they've knocked out Georgia. I don't think Georgia gets in. And now you've got to decide, do you keep out an undefeated Power 5 champ in Florida State in the ACC? Do you keep out
the SEC
altogether and put in Texas? That's going to be the big question. So I think it'll probably be Texas that gets in, and
then who else?
We may have a man down outside the playoff committee meeting.
Weegan bobbles it in the end zone. The kickoff from Tommy Doman, and will take a knee, and the ball will move out to the 25-yard line. That is a preview of the upcoming schedule, brought to you by Meyer, presenting sponsor of the 2023 Michigan football season and proud supporter of hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest.
Doug, who do you think gets in? You got Michigan and Washington. We know they're in. I think Florida State as an undefeated.
I think it's Florida State and Texas.
Florida State.
Hold on.
It just sounds like Jason disagrees. I agree. I think whether it's Alabama or Georgia, they're one of the top 4 teams. But how do you put one of them in
over Texas?
And it would have to be Alabama with the head-to-head win over Georgia.
25-yard line, Deacon Hill back to pass, goes screen, and he's got it to his running back. That is Caleb Johnson, who bounces it outside, gets run out of bounds by Junior Colson and Quentin Johnson at the 24-yard line with 3:30 to go in the ball game. Clock running, Michigan up 26-0. So, Jason, you give it to Alabama? 4th seed?
Yeah, it has to be an SEC school. Like they've have a gridlock on college football for the last 20 years.
Doesn't mean anything. All that matters is this year.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I just don't think it would be fair. They play in the toughest conference.
2nd down and 2 for the Hawkeyes. Hill back to pass, fires far side. He's got his man, Ragaini, across the 40 out to the 45-yard line. And he is brought down by Jaden McBurrows. Move the chains for the Hawkeyes, a gain of 12 yards. 2:51 to go, clock running. Ball's on the 45-yard line. 2 receivers split wide to the right. Iowa going tempo here, trying to get on the board. Hill in a shotgun, back to pass. Fires over the middle. He's got his tight end, Ostrenga, who's swallowed up by Ernest Hausman inside Michigan territory at the 48-yard line. He drops him there. 2:28 to go, short of the 1st down.
Well, with Keon Sabb and Quentin Johnson playing those safety positions, they're not allowing anybody to get deeper than they are.
And we're going to get a whistle and a false start on Iowa. It looked like the right tackle, Nick DeJong, again.
This is an almost impossible position for.
Prior to the ball being snapped, false start. Offense number 56. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
For this Iowa offensive line, I feel for them. I've been in that position before. And when Michigan's defense has their ears pinned back, you're going tempo, you're lining up, you're tired, and you're trying to time out the snap to make sure you give yourself an advantage. It becomes very difficult because this is not a time where an offense is going to go and play with the cadence at all. It's basically set hut, and the defense knows it.
Back the football up to the Iowa 48-yard line, 2nd down and 8. And we get movement up front again, but the play goes on. Deacon Hill fires over the middle. It's tipped by Junior Colson and incomplete.
Well, it looked like Mason Graham might have jumped a little bit early, but there's no flag.
I think Iowa snapped it thinking Graham was in the neutral zone, but no flag. As you mentioned, it'll be 3rd and 8 for Iowa with 1:54 to go. This Michigan team, too, moving in on their 3rd consecutive Big Ten championship.
It is remarkable what they've been able to do from 21, 22, 23. I mean, the standard was set by Josh Ross, Aiden Hutchinson, and they reset the standard here at Michigan. Now it's up to this team to try and take it to the next level.
And Iowa's going to take a timeout before this 3rd down and 7. And with the win tonight, Michigan in those 3 seasons moves to 35-3.
It's been a remarkable run. And Doug, has been a remarkable run for both you and I. Since we've taken over, we've had to do 1 loss, and that was obviously the playoff game last year to TCU. It's been a hell of a lot of fun to talk about these players, these kids, watch them continue to develop and grow. And we've got so much depth, so much experience, so much talent on both sides of the ball. I know offensively they've struggled today, but JJ is a much better player this year at this point than he was last year. He offers so much more to this offense, and hopefully they can get some guys healed up and ready to go for wherever they end up and whoever they end up playing in the college football playoffs.
5 wide for Iowa on this 3rd down and 8 following the timeout. 1:54 to go, 26-0, Michigan on top. Deacon Hill back to pass. Here comes the rush. Lets it go. Incomplete. Trying to find Caleb Brown on a crossing pattern at the Michigan 40. Josh Wallace in phase there. That'll be 4th and 8 for Iowa. Correction, 4th and 7. This was Iowa's 10th Big Ten game of the year. And unless they score here, they will finish with 11 touchdowns in conference play.
Yeah, it's been a rough go for this offense.
Here we go. Iowa's last gasp on 4th and 7. Back to pass is Hill. And we get a whistle, and it looks like Iowa jumped again. See TJ Guy in there for the Michigan defense. DJ Waller again, the freshman.
False start. Offense number 78. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
That was Mason Richmond, the left tackle. And now it's 4th and 12.
Yeah, not only is it tough in the best of circumstances, but you know that this team is probably feeling some defeat at this point as well. To go this far in the game, have no points, nothing to show for it.
4th and 12 for the Hawkeyes. Back to pass is Hill. Looking, here comes the rush. Steps up, and he won't get away from Derek Moore and TJ Guy. Hill dropped for a sack, and Michigan will take over with 1:45 to go. And a 26-0 lead here in Indy.
Well, you love to see a guy, TJ Guy, get in there and get an opportunity in a Big Ten championship game. We haven't seen him a lot this year. And Jim Harbaugh is emptying the bench, trying to get all of these guys on the field during a championship game. It's a great experience for them. It's a great moment for them, their families, their friends, everybody that's watching at home.
The backup O-line is in there. Fred Moore is in there. Alex Orji at quarterback. Claps his hands. Orji will run right. 40, 35, puts his head down, gets dropped right there by Jay Higgins. Wow, is Jay Higgins ever good? All Big Ten first team came into action tonight with 141 tackles. And feels like he has almost that many tonight.
Yeah, he's been a very impressive player. When you talk about guys on this defense, he's a tackling machine, and it's hard, even in the best of circumstances, for this offensive line, when they've been able to get double teams, get hands on Jay Higgins, he's still making plays.
Victory formation as JJ will take the snap. Back in the ball game, 1:05 to go. Takes the snap, takes the knee, clock running, 1 minute to go. And here come the Michigan fans. Jason, it's got to be quite a scene down there.
Michigan faithful is getting hyped. They're realizing their dreams are coming true. Big Ten champs. And off to the college football playoff.
One more snap for JJ. Keep your eye on Roman Wilson in the safety position. Remember what he did last week?
Yeah, he likes his flip.
JJ takes the snap, takes the knee, throws the ball over the head, and Roman catches it, and he won't do the flip. But Michigan will get the win, and Jim Harbaugh is being chased by his team with a bucket of Gatorade. And they half-got coach, who will now run to the center of the field and shake hands with Kirk Ferentz. And Michigan gets the win here in the Big Ten championship game, 26-0. Let's go down below to Jason Avant.
I'm here with the defensive MVP, Mikey Samerstill. Mike, your third time being in this building, Big Ten champion again. How does it feel?
It was great, man. The adversity that this team went through this year, man, it's such a blessing, the work God is doing for this team, what he's done, what he's continuing to do, it's a blessing, man. I love this team. I love this program. We love our coaches. It's great, man. It feels really good.
You are turning into one of the most prolific turnover specialists, playmakers in Michigan's history. Like, how are you doing this?
I'm just a part of this defense. I trust that the guys around me are doing their part. They trust that I'm doing my part. And, there's not one man on this defense that stands out more than, the next man. It's a defense that works together. It's a defense that plays together. And it's a defense that, it allows guys to make plays when plays need to be made.
All right, you guys are more than likely headed to the college football playoff, and you guys accomplished one of your goals. What does it mean to go to the college football playoff?
Man, it just means that it's time to compete. It's time, everything that you work for, it's time to put it all on the line. It's win or go home at this point.
Congratulations. Go and celebrate with your teammates.
Thank you.
I will disagree with Mikey Sanristel, and I will say that, yes, some players do stand out on the defense, and he is one of them. 2 forced fumbles tonight. Led this team this season with 5 interceptions, and the Michigan Wolverines are Big Ten champions for the 3rd consecutive year as the Wolverines go 13-0 and finish it off with a 26-0 win over the Hawkeyes here in Indianapolis. There'll be a trophy presentation down below as Michigan will get some hardware, then go celebrate, and then turn the page on the regular season, and it's off to the college football playoff. Lots to do here on the postgame show. So I have scores from around the country today, comments from inside the Michigan locker room. We'll hear from the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, all coming up. Stick with us. 26-0, the final in the Big Ten title game. You're listening to Michigan football from Learfield.
Now, here's your host, Brian Bush.
For the 3rd consecutive year, Michigan, Big Ten champions. Wolverines are headed to the college football playoff. Rob Joyce with you in the network studios. Coming up on the SeatGeek postgame show, we'll hope to get you the trophy presentation live from the field. We'll get locker room reaction regardless from Jason Avant with players. I'll run through the highlights. We'll get analysis from John Jansen and Jack Miller. But time to hear from the man who called the game a 26-0 victory here tonight over Iowa, Doug Karsch. Doug, 2021, not too many outside the program saw that coming. 2022 felt like validation. How do you view this 2023 Big Ten title? Resilience, focus, how would you put this in perspective?
Well, I mean, it's pretty amazing considering everything that went down, and they just managed to put the blinders on and deal with whatever was thrown at them and overcome it. And, you know, it's funny because the Big Ten Network this week was playing the Michigan-Iowa championship game from 2 years ago. And as I watched that, I couldn't believe how few players were still around. Like, they've almost completely turned over this roster. They haven't, but, you know, guys like Mike Barrett and Blake Corum were out there making plays. But it's a different group. And they've been able to just keep playing at that standard. The 2021 team seemed to really change things, and it's such an unselfish group that is only concerned about team success. And once again, they're getting the conference championship trophy, and it's off to the college football playoff. And the record of 35-3 over the last 3 seasons is absolutely remarkable. And certainly Jim Harbaugh's got Michigan playing at a level that they hoped when he came to Ann Arbor, and there were some hiccups along the way, but where they've got him right now is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that 2021 game, very different game tonight. If you remember, 2 years ago they had those 2 big explosive plays in the first quarter and really got up to that quick lead and never looked back. Tonight, it kind of out-Iowa'd Iowa. The 2 touchdown drives, 5 yards and 6 yards. They got turnovers. They got big special teams plays. And a night where the offense just wasn't clicking. You know, those other 2 phases of the game, so important.
That's a perfect way to put it. Michigan special teams and defense. That's what got it done. And the offense sputtered a little bit, but, you know, I mean, the other guys are good too. And what can you say about the Iowa Hawkeyes? Awfully impressive defensively, I mean, as advertised. And their offense, unfortunately for them, as advertised. I mean, it's when you lose arguably your 4 best players. And I talked to the Iowa people before the game, and I said, is it the 4 best players that are hurt? Cade McNamara, Eric All, Luke Lachey, and Cooper DeJean? And they said, yeah, it's definitely our 4 best playmakers. And, you know, they didn't have a lot of depth to begin with. I have a ton of respect for Kirk Ferentz as a head coach. He takes whatever he has and makes himself and his team competitive. And, you know, to his credit, Iowa got here, and they're one somewhat shaky call away from being 11-1 to go into this game. But, yeah, Michigan out, Iowa to Iowa tonight, and it's off to the college football playoff.
Give you a chance. We just heard from him last segment. You guys were waxing poetic about him in the fourth quarter, but another chance. Talk about your man, Mikey Sanristel. I mean, 2 more forced fumbles. The guy's remarkable.
Wow. He really is. And, you know, during the week, Jesse Minter was speaking about him, and he said, look, this guy does a great job in coverage because he was a wide receiver. He does see body positioning by receivers and knows how to react. And because of that, he's very good in coverage. But what really surprised him was how physical he was. You know, a guy switching from offense to defense sometimes struggles with the physicality, and that hasn't been the case with Mikey Sandristel. And so certainly that's been the part that has pleased the coaches the most. And, you know, he's an MVP caliber player, led this team in interceptions, led this team in pass breakups, and forced 2 fumbles tonight. Just an outstanding player.
And he led a defense. Well, you certainly hoped Iowa wouldn't score many, if any, points tonight, just given the reputation coming in. The numbers were what they were, but not just that they didn't score. Michigan came up with some splash plays, but even without the splash plays, Iowa never really threatened. The defense certainly held up its end of the bargain as a whole unit.
Well, the one time they did threaten, it was a third down pass to Patterson, and Mikey Sandristel got his helmet on the football, knocked it clean, and Chris Jenkins recovered it, and that was at the Michigan 30-yard line. I'm pretty sure that was the deepest penetration of the night by the Hawkeyes after that short punt that checked up and rolled backwards about 15 yards. And so, you know, they never really did threaten the end zone. And as much as everybody has talked about Iowa's defense, that's something else Jesse Minter said this week. We want to have the best defense on the field for this game. And you can make the case that they did. Now, Iowa's defense probably ran out of gas, given how much they were out there, but the offense didn't do them any favors. But at the end of the day, Wolverines get the job done, pitching the shutout 26-0 here in the Big Ten title game.
We'll leave you with this, Doug. 4 goals per season. Well, they've beaten Michigan State in consecutive years. They've beaten Ohio State and now won the Big Ten 3 straight years. Now the one they haven't gotten yet. Get into the semifinals. You think they'll be the 1 seed first of all, and then, you know, certainly do you think the last 2 years have been in the back of their minds going into New Year's Day?
I do. I think both those things are true. I think Michigan will be the 1 seed, and I think that they have been there and tasted it. There was certainly that matchup with Georgia. They could have played that 2021 Georgia team 10 times, and I'm not sure how many times they would have won. Last year felt like a missed opportunity. This year, I mean, you're getting to the college football playoff. You don't play easy foes. We don't know if it's going to be Texas or Alabama or Florida State or even Georgia at this point, but we don't even know where they're going. But let's face it, they'll take whoever gets in front of them. Michigan fans haven't left yet. They're waiting for the trophy presentation. Jim Harbaugh is actually on the stage trying to encourage some players to come up there. And, of course, the Big Ten commissioner, Tony Petitti, will have to hand the trophy to the coach that he suspended about a month ago, and we will have that presentation live here on the air when it does take place. So looking down below, the Wolverines have gathered in the roped-off pit area, and Michigan players celebrating down below, waiting for the trophy presentation.
Hardware, isn't it?
And here we go.
I want to first thank Amy Adams and Discover for everything that you've done supporting Big Ten football and being the title sponsor of the Big Ten championship game. Thank you, Amy. And to present tonight's championship trophy, Coach Harbaugh wanted it to go to Zach Zenner. So the commissioner of the Big Ten, Tony Petitti, the trophy to 65, Zach Zenner. Coach, come on up here real quick here. Coach Harbaugh, come on up here real quick. Coach Harbaugh, you guys have now won 3 straight Big Ten championships. How does it feel? Bet!
Coach Minter.
Coach, I know that you...
Hey, Jesse Minter. How about this performance on defense?
These guys, I know that you always want to talk about your players, your coaches, defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, Sharon Moore, offensive coordinator and acting head coach for the game. But Coach, you've done something tonight that's historic. You grew up in this conference, you played in this conference, now you're excelling as a coach in this conference. You just won your 3rd straight outright Big Ten championship. That's never been done before by any coach. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel super great, and there's no coach that could have it better than to have these coaches and these players and this staff. I got one question for you, Michigan Nation. Who's got it better than us? Buddy.
Congratulations, Coach. Yeah, absolutely. And now to present tonight's Grange Griffin MVP Award, the trophy's namesake and only two-time Heisman winner, Archie Griffin. Archie, please present the hardware to tonight's MVP, Nickelback, Mikey St. Rasil. Mikey, you guys were dominant defensively. You pitched the shutout tonight. You had your hand in 2 forced turnovers. Tell us about the dominant performance by you and your group.
Man, this MVP trophy is not for me, man. This is for this whole team. The work we put in this offseason, the work we consistently put in every single day. Man, this is for all of us, man. But, tonight, Coach Minter talked about it yesterday, man. He said we got to go out there and be the best defense on the field tomorrow. We got to get the offense the ball and keep them on the field, get their offense, sleepy and, really not be able to produce anything. And that's exactly what we did.
Now, you guys have been here before. This is going to be your 3rd straight trip to the college football playoff. I know that you guys have talked about all year long what's ahead of you and the goals in front of you for this team. Tell us about those goals.
Man, just one thing I'll say about the goals and just, the success of this team is God's been doing great work for this team, and I know that he's going to continue doing great work. So everything we do, man, we just give it back to God, and I know he got big plans for us ahead.
Mikey, congratulations, man. Good luck the rest of the way. I want to thank you all for attending tonight's Big Ten championship game. A big thanks to Discover, the Iowa Hawkeyes for a great season, but most of all, your 2023 Big Ten champion, Michigan Wolverines.
There you go. From down below, the trophy presentation. Here comes the confetti. Michigan, the 3rd consecutive Big Ten championship as they beat Iowa here at the Big Ten title game in Lucas Oil Stadium, 26-0.